based, raise the awareness that climate change is first and foremost a challenge to our sustainable food systems, and that is where efforts need to go. Finance technology can be arranged.
Mr. Prime Minister, as Geraldine said, if this present situation is compounded with climate change, we should be very aware that there might be a rapid collapse of the food production. And this sense of urgency is spreading, but not probably enough. What, from your point of view, what is missing in trying to scale up the efforts and the transformation?
Well, I think that is the core question which we need to address, and I would like to build and amplify on what both David and Geraldine have been saying. And we all have seen the cartoon, I think in the pre-meeting material, where we see the waves of COVID, but then the recession, the climate change, and the biodiversity collapse. And I think that's exactly what we are facing at the moment. And I would argue, but I would love to hear the views of the other members on the panel, that we need to do a few things at the same time. Crucial here is, I believe, a whole of society approach, and that means that, of course, as I think we're all saying, the private sector needs to be on board. There we have the scalability. It is the entire value chain from farm to fork, so to say. And there, I think it was also the executive director, David, building on mentioning this, the small, the medium-sized, and the large businesses like DSM working together, because they collectively feed the world. It's not governments feeding the world. It is the whole of the value chain doing this. And that means that I believe there are some great promises when we look forward, and which will also help us in getting the rest of society on board. And one always has to be the technological innovation. Just to mention one example, we have here in the Netherlands the project Geodata for water and agriculture, where digital tools help smallholders to learn how to sustainably raise their production. So it is a very practical tool which helps smallholders in all parts of the world. And a second one I'd like to mention is how can we work on generally sustainable agricultural practices, circular agriculture, agroecology, and above all climate smart agriculture, as we have discussed so many times also at the World Economic Forum. And we have seen a recent report, the International Finance Corporation says that climate smart agriculture has the highest green job creation potential of the 10 sectors studied. 40 jobs per $1 million invested. And my vision for the future is that we will see in many countries that, for example, in the Netherlands, we have 10 million jobs in the Netherlands. In 2030, probably 2 to 3 million of those jobs we do not know of at the moment. We do not know where these jobs will be, but we do know that many of these jobs here in the Netherlands will be linked somehow to the food industry, to the whole of the supply chain in the food sector. And this report shows you what the enormous impact on society is. So I would, in closing, would say it is yes, and the urgency of now that we have to fight these waves, like the cartoon is putting on the table in the material for this meeting. But at the same time, we also have to stress the positive, that so much future growth potential and new jobs will come out of the innovations we are putting on the table now. And that will help us to come out of the COVID-19 crisis, to fight the recession. It will fight climate change. It will prevent the biodiversity collapse. So there are so many opportunities here at the same time.
Yeah, so it would be wonderful if we could create a positive cycle of the positive environment and positive employment and growth and so forth. Jeffrey, your